So today our goal is to touch the basics. जो programming the basics अपन ਨੂੰ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਨੇ for machine learning for AI है ना. What are the basics that we need? ਆਪਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ touch ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਅੱਜ. So I'll go slowly to make sure you are able to follow. I'll cover as many slides as we can today, and the rest of the slides will cover tomorrow. Okay. जितना अपने को cover होया ਆਪਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਅੱਜ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ. To make sure that the learning is happening across school students as well. Okay. So welcome to the 10th class. This is our 10th lecture. And it feels good. We have covered a lot of deeper content in all the past 9 lectures. So today we'll recap certain important things. And those things actually I need to build on the programming knowledge later on. ਆਪਾਂ ਕੁਝ ਥੋੜੀਆਂ ਜਿਹੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਪੁਰਾਣੀਆਂ ਰੀਕੈਪ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ from a different perspective. I'll try to tie it to programming. And then I'll build over how to think when you want to become programming expert for AI or ML. Generally, जो ਆਪਾਂ cover ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਉਹ simpler programming which ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ help ਕਰੇਗਾ. ਤੁਸੀਂ web development, mobile development expert बनना चाहते हो. So you will have to think on the similar lines, but in your own domain, okay? Many new students who got the links, different channels, right? So you can register for the course. More details are always there on our website or in our previous videos. ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਈ questions ਨੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ chat ਵਿੱਚ ਲਿਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ. If you have any questions, please write in the chat. Don't spam the chat with the same questions. We'll kind of take a look at the questions in a few minutes, and we'll try to answer whichever questions I feel are relevant to the course or the things which we are covering in the lecture, okay? I have already told like in the beginning कि अपना YouTube channel ਤੁਸੀਂ watch ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਪੁਰਾਣੀਆਂ classes ਮਿਲ ਜਾਣਗੀਆਂ ਕੁਝ orientation sessions record ਕਰਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਪਾਏ ਹੋਏ ਆ some orientation sessions are not recorded, so the past lectures, most of the lectures are there. Certain of the orientation sessions are not in the recordings as available, but still they'll give you much deeper knowledge of where we are. In the past lecture, I told people to register on the LinkedIn portal. Write it in the chat if you are actually already registered on the LinkedIn portal. This is one such portal which I generally recommend all the audience which we have in the class to register. So for students, it's like a professional networking platform for your career growth, okay? Why you should join? So this is also the time where you can start building your personal brand and connection with professionals. A lot of jobs and opportunities are there. Not every job on LinkedIn is something which you will like, but you will start learning what kind of skill sets are needed. So I will also say caution, like, so take care when you apply for these jobs. Don't trust blindly anyone. ਤੁਸੀਂ blindly jobs ਤੇ apply ਨਾ ਕਰੋ ਜੋ ਵੀ post ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ if they are from a reputed company, that's good, but otherwise try to do your due diligence. ਤੁਸੀਂ check ਕਰਕੇ apply ਕਰੋ, but ਫਿਰ ਵੀ ਇਸ portal ਤੇ ਕਾਫੀ reputed jobs ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਣਗੀਆਂ. ਇਹ profile ਤੁਹਾਡੀ online resume ਦੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈ. So this is like your online resume in modern world. It showcases your skills, your connections, your achievements, your education. So start building now if you are in second or third year of your bachelor, or if you are in your master, if you have not created it. I will recommend like also reaching out to recruiters and all those things later on as we learn, but this is a good time to start. Connect with your peers, all your students who are there, your alumni, your recruiters, your industry experts. You will find a lot of experts there. It's a bit overwhelming. ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰੀ create ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ, it's like Instagram, Facebook, but it's a technical audience. So ਤੁਸੀਂ over the time grow ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ, so you have to take some time to learn and grow. Jobs and internships listings ਇੱਥੇ ਬਹੁਤ available ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ. In one of the session, I'll try to show you some simpler jobs, like and how you search them and what is the skill set needed, right? We'll try to cover in one of the session later on. But this is also the time where you can write articles, share posts, technical posts, okay? Technical content. Again, to see in the first few weeks, try to observe, try to see what your peers are posting, your alumni are posting. So it's a good way to learn. Here you can actually get recommendations and endorsements. So my plan is actually the people who are learning in the course, they will get connected with me and I'll kind of give a professional recommendation on LinkedIn. So this serves as a very good recommendation rather than a certification of any form. because most of the people actually go check online what you have done. Okay. So if you have not created LinkedIn profile, I'll suggest create one. Okay. So in the last lecture, we started from a sample question. This was an interview question. ਅਸੀਂ ਪਿਛਲੇ lecture ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ interview question cover ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ कि we want to create a vision product. So there are so many vision companies. This is a simpler interview question which actually covers, this can cover a very vast variety of almost all questions inside it. So there are two different kind of shapes like you see in different 5 photos. There are square shapes and triangle shapes, and we want to identify which of them is square or triangle. And I covered in very detail there the thinking process behind solving such an AI problem कि ਤੁਸੀਂ AI ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਬਣਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਜੋ ਇਸ ਨੂੰ solve ਕਰ ਸਕੇ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਆਪਣਾ 10th ਲੈਕਚਰ ਹੈ ਆਪਾਂ ਬੇਸਿਕਸ ਆਫ AI ਦੀ ਡਿਟੇਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਥੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਪੁਰਾਣੇ ਲੈਕਚਰਸ ਉਹ ਕਵਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਡਿਟੇਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਵਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਪਰ ਇਸ ਲੈਕਚਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਦੇਖੋਗੇ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮਿੰਗ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਸੋ first of all we covered there in more details how to solve this, right? So at high level, we looked at the steps that can AI do this? So how to answer this question we have covered in many lectures. And a quick recap is, can you do it yourself? So can you look at these images and tell me where is triangle or square? If you as an intelligent entity can do it, then AI can do it. And then we looked at how to define the problem. ਤੁਸੀਂ problem ਕਿਵੇਂ define ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ ਆਪਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਵੀ ਦੇਖਿਆ, right? Problem definition ਬਹੁਤ important ਸੀ ਆਪਾਂ simplify ਕੀਤਾ problem ਨੂੰ so real world ਵਿੱਚ ਤੇ interviews ਵਿੱਚ similar process follow ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ if you're interviewing at a big company which has stable teams of AI ML big companies the AI ML teams ਦੇ products ਕਾਫੀ stable ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ products ਨੂੰ advance ਕਰਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ those teams have their problems well defined and they will probably ask you in that area ਉਹ ਕੁਝ sample problems ਆਪਾਂ future ਚ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀਆਂ ਜਿਹਾ ਹੋਰ cover ਕਰਾਂਗੇ but any vision problem you can model it in this way which I told you except some certain complexities jo aapa thode jiha ਹੋਰ cover karange baad vich but this vision problem of square triangles is actually telling you there are different patterns in the data we want to find those patterns hai na so problem formalization we discussed you start with the data AI and output right so real data is quite complex we simplify the problem for interview or real life simplification ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ simple problem ਹੀ solve ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ simplification is a way to understand the problem to start working on it once you are able to identify triangles which are very simpler like this is a 10 by 10 image pixel resolution of image is there 10 squares and then 10 squares on this side right that's what 10 by 10 means squares square shape like you see here a triangle shape with eyes is visible ਅਸੀਂ ਕਾਫੀ simple ਕਰਤਾ problem ਨੂੰ in this simplified problem we could solve it with eyes and we have created an AI to solve this AI ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰਨ ਕਰਕੇ ਪਿਛਲੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਸੀ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲਿੰਕ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ but AI can create and identify all these things right ਇਸ problem the wider implications ਕੀ ਨੇ what are the wider implications in ImageNet challenge and all those things we looked at it but today the main question which I want to touch is how to program an AI or how to solve an AI which has such problems right आज ਆਪਾਂ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਡੀਪਰ ਵੀ ਚਲੇ ਜਾਵਾਂਗੇ ਕੁਝ ਹੋਰ ਕੁਐਸਚਨਸ ਵਿੱਚ at this time I want to stop are there any questions from the audience from the beginning of the lecture if you have questions now you can put it we'll take it later but let me check the chat if there are any questions from the audience from the beginning of the lecture okay so today the main problem we want to learn is how to start coding for ML problems right so ਆਪਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਤੱਕ ML ਦੀ ਕਾਫੀ deeper understanding ਲਈ ਹੈ I have not defined many of the terms like which I felt are not needed. आप बहुत सारे terms की definitions नहीं पढ़ी हैं, but AI की काफी deeper knowledge we have get in the last few lectures. So you can actually answer many tough questions now. But one of the question which I have not touched is how to start coding for these problems. So always think the coding in the same way. जो जिमें ਆਪਾਂ ML ਦੀ AI ਦੀ definition पढ़ रहे सी. We start with the data. We have to create an AI and we want the output. So think of coding in terms of data. We want to define data as numbers somehow. We learned that AI text या images ਨੂੰ ਸਮਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦੀ. AI cannot understand text or images. AI can only understand numbers. So the data part we want to define large number of numbers somehow, right? ਆਪਾਂ ਕੁਝ large number of numbers ਨਾਲ data ਦੀ coding ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ ਉਹੀ numbers ਆਪਾਂ define ਕਰਨੇ ਨੇ Output also means that AI will produce output in terms of numbers only. AI takes input as numbers, AI will produce output as number. So ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹ output ਨੂੰ ਵੀ somehow meaningful results ਨਾਲ map ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ. This is the part that we want to create, but in the code you have to write data and outputs, all those things has to be written in the code, right? So end of the day, AI coding is nothing but defining data in the terms of numbers and mapping output to meaningful results, which are also numbers, okay? How many of you little bit understood until here? Give me a thumbs up if you're attending the past few lectures and you understood until here, okay? Sounds good. Okay. So like I said, you have to think in terms of data. That is like these parts, input, output. Other than data, we have logic or computation or transformations. So ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ data ਆ, data ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਆਪਾਂ data ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੋ operations ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, data ਨੂੰ transform ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, data ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ computation ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਹੈ ਨਾ? ਉਹ computation ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ? Simplified computation ਅੱਜ ਆਪਾਂ ਥੋੜੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ. But we are trying to play with the data and change it. Data will be changed by some logic. We will have some kind of computations running on data. We will do some type of transformations on data. So the code will consist of two parts: data definition, and computations. Okay. For example, in the last lecture, we looked at the data which was image, right? This triangle, but this was nothing but numbers, like you saw. So input data definition in the code meant we have to define these many numbers. Okay. How is the output defined? ਉਹ ਆਪਾਂ ਹਾਲੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ, ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ lectures ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿਖਾਈ ਹਾਲੇ. So let us play until here data part and somewhat in the AI part, okay? Output the definitions ਆਪਾਂ ਅਗਲੇ lectures ਵਿੱਚ ਪੜਾਂਗੇ. But this is what we want to do in the coding, define a lot of numbers, okay? So at a high level, we need to write a program which combines data and processing on data. Processing on data will be like cleaning of data, simplifying data, defining AI models to learn from data. So जो साडा program ਆਪਾਂ ਲਿਖਾਂਗੇ, ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਆਪਾਂ data define ਕਰਾਂਗੇ, ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ numbers. ਉਹਨਾਂ numbers ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ processing define ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਕਿ ਉਹ numbers ਨੂੰ clean ਕਿਵੇਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ, simplify ਕਿਵੇਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦਿਖਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ, ਆਪਾਂ image ਨੂੰ simplify ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ. ਉਹ numbers ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਜੋ AI model ਬਣਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਉਹ ਵੀ data ਦੀ ਇੱਕ processing ਹੀ ਹੈ. That's like transformation on the data itself. So the entire program is nothing but data and then playing with data, okay? So before we move forward, I want to ask a very basic question. What is a program? Apa basics of Python programming, the deep which jane ho. We'll try to go much deeper into the Python programming from the AI perspective again. So even if you know programming for some like many of the people who probably know programming, let us relearn it in a different way. Aj apa thoda jiha alag tarah padhde hain. This is generally not the way programming is taught in classes. But let us learn it from a different way. But if you know what is program, write it in the chat. I'll give you maybe 20-30 seconds to write it. What is a program? So let's proceed further in the lecture, and I'll kind of little bit teach from little bit basics. So it's a set of instructions written in a programming language. So they are a set of instructions. They are written in a particular language. The goal is to tell computer to do something, you know. So program ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਮਝ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ we are talking with each other. I'm teaching you something in English or in Punjabi language, right? So we want to tell computer to do something. To tell a computer to do something, we follow a programming language and we write certain set of instructions. ਉਹ set of instructions ਨੂੰ ਹੀ program ਕਹਿ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ. Okay? ਇਹਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਸਮਝ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਕਿ ਕੰਪਿਊਟਰ ਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਕੰਪਿਊਟਰ ਕੁਝ ਕਰੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ, ਉਹ ਕੁਝ ਕਰੇਗਾ, ਉਹ ਆਪਦੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮਿੰਗ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ. ਉਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮਿੰਗ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਜੋ ਆਪਾਂ ਲਿਖਨੇ ਆ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਇੰਸਟਰਕਸ਼ਨਸ ਕਹਿ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ. ਓਕੇ, so program is actually in terms of AI ML models, program will be defining data and we are defining operations on data. So that will be an AI ML program, okay? Defining data and defining operations on data. All right. Now defining data, we will define data using data structures. ਸੋ ਹਰ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਡੇਟਾ ਸਟਰਕਚਰਸ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਐਵਰੀ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਹੈਜ਼ ਲੋਟ ਆਫ ਡੇਟਾ ਸਟਰਕਚਰਸ ਟੂ ਡਿਫਾਈਨ। So data structure in C language, in Java, or in JavaScript, or in Python, like they are different, but end of the day, they are doing the same thing. So every language has different data structures to define data. Then every language offers us different ways to define operations. ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਹਰ language ਵਿੱਚ operators, decision flows, loops ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ। We take the data structures and these operations and we are actually playing with data now, okay? You define data, you define operations on data. ਆਪਾਂ ਕੁਝ real examples ਨਾਲ ਅੱਗੇ ਦੇਖਾਂਗੇ how we are doing this, okay? So the operations on data which we want to define, right? Those operations actually will be also including defining AI models. AI model is one form of more complex operation on data. Training AI models is also more form of complex operation on data. Testing AI models is also a complex operation on data. So जो अपना Python AI वास्ते ਆਪਾਂ ਦੇਖਾਂਗੇ for few examples जो ਆਪਾਂ build ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਹੌਲੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲਾਸਟ ਦੇ ਜੋ ਕੋਲੈਬ ਨੋਟਬੁੱਕਸ ਖੋਲ ਕੇ ਦੇਖੋਗੇ ਉਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਨੋਟਬੁੱਕਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਾਂ ਡੇਟਾ ਡਿਫਾਈਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ ਯੂਜ਼ਿੰਗ ਸਮ ਡੇਟਾ ਸਟਰਕਚਰਸ। ਆਪਾਂ ਆਪਰੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਡਿਫਾਈਨ ਕੀਤੇ ਨੇ ਕੁਝ ਆਪਰੇਸ਼ਨਸ, ਆਪਰੇਟਰਸ, ਡਿਸੀਜਨ ਫਲੋ, ਲੂਪਸ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਵੇਲੇਬਲ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਉਹ ਪਾਈਥਨ ਦੇ ਲੂਪਸ, ਡਿਸੀਜਨ ਫਲੋ, ਆਪਰੇਟਰਸ ਆਪਾਂ ਅੱਜ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਥੋੜੇ ਜਿਹੇ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੋਵਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕਰਕੇ ਵੀ ਕੈਨ ਕ੍ਰੀਏਟ ਮੈਨੀ ਕੰਪਲੈਕਸ ਥਿੰਗਸ ਨਾਓ, ਓਕੇ। ਆਪਾਂ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਹੋਰ ਬੇਸਿਕਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਹਾਂ। So we have looked at some modules or libraries in few of the Colab notebooks, right? So modules or libraries are actually nothing but a collection of code जो ਆਪਾਂ again and again use ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਜਿਵੇਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ NumPy, Matplotlib ਇਹ libraries ਪਿਛਲੀਆਂ ਕੁਝ notebooks ਵਿੱਚ ਦੇਖੀਆਂ ਹੋਣਗੀਆਂ। So this is a collection of code which we use again and again, and because we use again and again, researchers have made this available open source. ये researchers ने open source available release ਕੀਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ NumPy library ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ number ਦੇ operations again and again ਕਰਨੇ ਪੈਂਦੇ ਨੇ। Module ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ module is one which is just one source file, and library is actually which has many modules, okay? ਜਿਵੇਂ math.py module ਹੈ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ just one file ਹੈ, but NumPy is a library because it's collection of many files, many modules. For example, the NumPy library, which is operations on data. Pandas library is also operations on data. Pandas and NumPy also help us to define data as well. Matplotlib library, ਆਪਾਂ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਕੁਝ Colab notebooks is ਦੇਖੀ ਸੀ, it's visualize the data, okay? TensorFlow or Keras library in some of previous notebooks you might have seen, it's to create AI models. So overall, the collection of code which you see in the past was in the form of either we wrote it or we use some libraries to do some certain simpler operations. These libraries are also nothing but operations on data or visualizing data or creating AI models, which are again operations on data, okay? If you're not understanding until here, please write it in the chat. I'll try to go through this again. And if you understood, just give me a thumbs up until here if you understood until this part. Okay. So before we move forward, ਆਪਾਂ ਕਾਫੀ deeper ਇਸੇ ਜਾਵਾਂਗੇ ਕੁਝ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਦੇ। I want to just run one exercise first, and then we'll go deeper into like certain operations. Like ਆਪਾਂ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ how to print on the screen in Python. We have done this few times, and we'll look at some basic operators in Python. फिर ਆਪਾਂ slides ਵਿੱਚ basic operators ਦੀਆਂ ਥੋੜੀਆਂ details ਵਿੱਚ ਆਵਾਂਗੇ. So we'll go a little bit more details in the slides on these operators, okay? So I will kind of share the link of the Colab notebook, so you can run it on your own also. Let me also share screen, so we'll follow it. Okay, let me actually correct the link of the notebook. This is a channel link. Give me a few seconds to put the link. So this is the Colab notebook link, okay? So students who are joining for the first time, जो बच्चे आज पहली बारी join ਕੀਤੇ ਨੇ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ Colab notebook run ਕਰਨੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਂਦੀ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੁਰਾਣੇ ਲੈਕਚਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਡਿਸਕਸ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ ਡਿਟੇਲ ਵਿੱਚ how to run this Colab notebooks and all, okay? ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ follow ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਰਿਕਾਰਡਿੰਗ ਬਾਅਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੇਖਿਓ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਾਫੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਸਮਝ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਣਗੀਆਂ। ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮਿੰਗ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ for the first time in your life, so ਤੁਸੀਂ ਥੋੜੇ ਜਿਹਾ ਕਨਫਿਊਜ਼ ਹੋਗੇ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਦੋ ਵਾਰੀ ਰਿਕਾਰਡਿੰਗ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਦੇਖਿਓ, ਆਪਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਿੰਪਲ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਵਰ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਸੋ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਤੋਂ ਸਮਝ ਆਏਗਾ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਦੇਖੋਗੇ। ਓਕੇ, ਸੋ ਥੋੜੇ ਜਿਹਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਪਾਈਥਨ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਸਿੱਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ AI ਵਾਸਤੇ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ। ਓਕੇ, ਕੋਲੈਬ ਨੋਟਬੁੱਕ ਨੂੰ ਰਨ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਤਰੀਕਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਨੈਕਟ ਕਲਿੱਕ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ, ਮਸ਼ੀਨ ਨਾਲ ਕਨੈਕਟ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਆਪਾਂ, ਸੋ ਕੁਝ ਟਾਈਮ ਲੱਗੇਗਾ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਕਨੈਕਟ ਹੋਣ ਤੇ। ਪਾਈਥਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਮੈਂਟਸ ਲਿਖਣ ਦਾ ਤਰੀਕਾ ਹੈ ਹੈਸ਼ ਨਾਲ, ਦਿਸ ਇਜ਼ ਅ ਕਮੈਂਟ, ਰਾਈਟ। ਕਮੈਂਟ ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਪਾਈਥਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰੇਗਾ, ਇੱਕ ਕਮੈਂਟਸ ਆਪਾਂ ਕੋਡ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਿਖਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ, ਵੀ ਰਾਈਟ ਕਮੈਂਟਸ ਇਨ ਦਾ ਕੋਡ so that it's readable. So comments are written to explain the code. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੀ ਕੰਪਨੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਕੋਡ ਬੇਸ ਦੇਖੋਗੇ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੰਪਲੈਕਸ ਕੋਡ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਸਮਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ, because it's too big. So most of the teams often try to write comments to make it understandable. Okay, so these comments are always present in many of my codes and notebooks which you see. Comment ਦੇ ਸੈੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰਨ ਕਰੋਗੇ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰੇਗਾ, because it's just a comment to explain it. So to print is the actually used to print something to the screen, what you see here. So if you run this, hello students, welcome to Python lesson, it will print to the screen. ਇੱਥੇ ਮੈਂ ਸਿਰਫ simple text print ਕਰਤਾ. We can print many things which we'll see next. You can print numbers like print 10, it will print 10 of course, very simple, right? ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਪੁਰਾਣੇ ਕੋਲਬ ਨੋਟਬੁੱਕਸ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਖੋਲ ਕੇ ਦੇਖੋਗੇ, ਆਪਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪ੍ਰਿੰਟ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। You can print multiple items together, like comma deke, you can print many items, text and numbers together. Python is fun, let's start coding 2025. Okay, now next thing jo important hai, variables. ਆਪਾਂ slides ਵਿੱਚ ਥੋੜਾ deeper ਵੀ ਜਾਵਾਂਗੇ। Variable is a very simple data type. Variable ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਾਂ numbers store ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ, text store ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ, like name is equal to Alex, and you can use print my name is, and you can use to print name. ਹੁਣ ਇਹਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜੋ name ਹੈ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਵੀ assign ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। So during AI program, ਇਹ Alex ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ, this is your input from chat GPT, this is the number input which you want to use, this is the variable can be an image also, right? It can be complex. So ਇਹਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ run ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਇੱਕ ਸਿੰਪਲ ਤਰੀਕਾ ਰਨ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਸਾਰੇ ਸੈੱਲ ਦਾ ਕੀ ਹੈ, you can go to like runtime, you can go to runtime and run all, which will run all the cells for you. Okay, it runs quite faster. ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਫੋਨ ਤੇ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਓਪਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਤੇ runtime run all ਕਰੋਗੇ, it will run all the cells for you. ਵੇਰੀਏਬਲ ਨੰਬਰ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ, like I said. ਪ੍ਰਿੰਟ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ, ਆਪਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਦੋ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ। There are many ways to print the numbers. So with F, it is called F formatted string. ਇਹ Python ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਤਰੀਕਾ ਹੈ ਪ੍ਰਿੰਟ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ। This is way which we can use in Python to print the things. I'm showing you all this because ਤੁਸੀਂ online AI ਦੇ ਕੋਡ ਦੇਖੋਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਚ ਅਲੱਗ-ਅਲੱਗ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਪ੍ਰਿੰਟ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੋਏਗਾ। So if you see online AI codes, different ways to use it. So one way is you use it like in this fashion, like I said, just put a comma. Another way to use it, you can put square brackets, this curly brackets like you see here, and put the name of the variable inside and it will print it for you. I am 16 years old. I can make it I am 18 years old, right? Whatever you want to do, okay? Or you can also use using format. अब ये दो चीजें ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਰਟਣ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ। You don't have to like memorize these things. You will often learn these things over time, okay? Let us continue further. So let us look at the basic operators. So operation, we want to change data. So one of the basic operation is addition, to add two numbers. You define two numbers, A and B. These are variables which we define. You can add them, very simple, right? Sum results, A plus B. And then printed, like we said, you can do multiple prints, right? Addition of A plus B, like A was 10, B is 5. So ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖੋਗੇ A ਦੀ value print ਕਰੇਗਾ ਉਹ। ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ double brackets ਵਿੱਚ ਲਿਖਦੇ ਹੋ like this one, then it prints this inside brackets, addition. So if you're looking this Python for the first time in life, don't worry, watch this recording again and you will slowly understand these things, okay? It will take 2-3 days to digest it. ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ Python ਤਾਂ ਡਰਨ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ। ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਦਿਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ 2-3 ਦਿਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੌਲੀ ਸਮਝ ਆਏਗਾ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰਿਕਾਰਡਿੰਗ ਨੂੰ 2-3 ਟਾਈਮਸ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਦੇਖਿਓ ਬਾਅਦ ਵਿੱਚ। Addition is one of the operation. Subtraction, right? You can do subtraction of numbers, A minus B. So 10 minus 5 is 5. Because you are high school students or bachelor's masters, so addition subtraction is very easy. multiplication, right? A star B. Okay. Division you can also do, regular division. Okay. ਇੱਥੇ ਲਾਸਟ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਕੁਝ ਟਾਸਕ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਨੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ I want you to print your name and write your favorite subject. So how you can do this? So ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਵਾਂ ਕੋਡ ਸੈੱਲ ਬਣਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ, click on plus code and like you can write your name. Okay, my name is whatever your name is, right? Maybe Sandeep. So my name is Sandeep. So that's how like you can write these things. Okay. Let me stop here. ਆਪਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਸਲਾਈਡਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਅੱਗੇ ਜਾਵਾਂਗੇ. I'll again cover certain things from basics. How many of you understood until here? Give me a thumbs up if you understood until here. Okay. So let us continue. We will cover again certain Python aspects when we are coding further. Okay. How many of you are learning Python for the first time? Give me a thumbs up if you are learning Python for the first time. Okay. So any language which you are learning for the first time, like I said, you have to define data and operations on data. So we looked at data can be defined using variables. Very simple, right? Name is equal to this, A is equal to this. That are variables. That's simple data definitions. And operations, we looked at addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. These are very simple operations which any calculator can do also, right? Let's continue further, okay? I will share the link in the group of the Colab notebook, like after the class, or like in few seconds, okay? Like when we next talk. If you have any questions, write it in the chat. Aapa questions dobara cover karange.